Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very 26th episode of Cool Down Timer. I am your host, Neefu, and with me today, I am joined by Snuggles, our man.
Posh with a capital P!
And from the frozen, though apparently melting and thawing wastelands of Alaska. I was about to call him Mr. H again. Mark Hamilton!
That's right. It is melting up here. It's pretty nice. I like it. Meltage.
So, after last week's episode, where we focused all about how there were only a very, very few times over the course of our lives where Zingle's Artman and I have gotten fairly angry with each other, it was only fate that this week, Zingle's Artman and I got... I believe that we have both agreed that it was one of the most angriest moments that either of us have had, like most angriest feelings.
It was a perfect storm. Like it really was, because it really wasn't a big deal. And I don't think it was a big deal to either of us. And it really was the right circumstance of that time of the morning with very small little things that all just added up and then
snowballed
boom.
into this big mess that lasted
6
day. Hours, 8 hours.
Yeah, well, most of a day, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, so that was fun. That was actually one of the longest fights I've ever had in my life.
Well,
second
you
only to
couldn't even say it was a fight because we weren't you were ignoring me most of it.
But that's the thing, is that was a fight because I knew that would torture you the worst, which is why I did it.
I was fully aware of the fact that you were doing that, but I was still like, dude, there was...
I made a point on Skype and then I just radio silence on all.
You wouldn't believe the really mean and hurtful things that I had been imagining doing that I had to stop myself from doing. It's just like, this is one of my oldest friends. The moment we talk about this for 2 minutes, it'll get resolved instantaneously. I really don't want to do anything stupid.
And I was like, I'm so mad at him, but I know if we talk for 2 minutes, it'll be resolved instantaneously.
So before we actually talk about what...
I was just trying to figure out why you guys were so upset.
No, yeah. So before we actually explain what happened, Mark, why don't you tell us your third-person perspective of it, kind of just getting little bits and pieces from each of us.
He did just get some of the fallout because he is in Alaska.
They're gonna need the audience. I mean, you guys, our friends. You're all gonna need some background information first about HabitRPG. We gotta explain that, or else this won't make any sense.
Yeah.
HabitRPG is an awesome little tool for bettering yourself.
Yeah, dude. You basically, it gives an RPG leveling system where the tasks that you do to level up are user-defined tasks of real-world things that you want to do. For example, I have a 28-day streak in flossing my teeth, yo.
Yeah, stuff like that.
You've been really grinding that flossing mob.
Yeah. So anyway, you do these tasks. It gives you experience and gold, which you can use to buy gear, and you level up. And there's classes and boss battles and pets and mounts. It's really freaking cool. But anyway, so we've been doing that. We've got a little party and stuff.
Yeah, a little party.
And so when we started playing the game, it was basically like, let's invite everybody we know to play with us. And so I don't know, we'd invited a couple friends, each of us. You know, there's been Mark, ZAM, Zam's fiance, me, and then one of my friends. But when one of my friends, he joined the game, joined our party, but then forgot about it, and I forgot to remind him about it. Zam comes to me the other day saying, "Hey, yo, I want to start doing quests, yo," and he had all these yos in there. And
yeah,
because that's how the Z-Dog rolls.
You're liable to start another fight.
And so he was like, you know, we gotta make sure that we gotta either like kick him from the party or get him involved. Well, yeah,
that's what I said.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, let me talk to him. I'll see if I can get him involved, get him back into it. And so I talked to the friend who is a listener. Hi, how's it going? And
sweet mouse hood.
That's not gonna make any sense to people. But
it wasn't meant to.
You threw me out. You have.
All right, I can.
Oh, right. Okay, so
I can take it from here, from my point of view. Okay. This is a great jumping off
sweet.
point for me. So, I know all this basically, and I wake up, take my shower,
Mark it
go
off.
to work. I'm at my work, and I work in a office building, so I'm just sitting there under the fluorescent light, tapping away at the computer, filing something, when suddenly I get a text message, and I almost never get text messages when I'm at work. And I find that it's ZAM, and he's quite upset. You see, Neefu's friend, who was level 1 yesterday, is today level 14. And to put this in some perspective, I was like at level 7 at the time, and I'd been playing as long as everyone, really. And to put in even more perspective, ZAM is a much higher level than me because he's got a lot more stuff. So he's got even more invested than I do. And ZAM is upset about this, and I'm like, whatever. It's no big. It's like, oh, that sucks, but this is literally a game where you make your own quests, and the whole point is to actually do them. So I thought, well, if he cheated, if that's what happened, then he's just wasting his time, No big deal. But ZAM keeps texting me about it, and then suddenly Neefu texts me out of the blue, and he says, "Have you heard about this HabitRPG stuff? Have you heard about this?" And I'm like,
I was like super vague because I didn't want to I didn't want to alarm you if you didn't know what was going on.
And so here I am at work fielding texts from 2 different people about this dumb game, and I'm like, what's going on?
And this song started playing through his head when a little something like this, stuck in the middle again.
So you guys take it from there. From my point of view, I'm just getting texts and slowly realizing that this is growing into something serious.
Well, like I said, it was a perfect storm. It started the night before the real fight for me. When I saw him jump up to level 14, I was like, whoa, what happened there to Neefu? And I was trying to talk about it because I was like, I'm not, super fond of the idea of someone in a party cheating levels or whatever.
To clarify, just to give so that you don't have the wrong idea, what he did was he went back in his mind over his last 2 weeks and applied the stuff that he had done to it at that one moment. So it's not that he was cheating, it was...
Right. Well, but to me, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And,
I'm just
didn't know,
giving the listeners some context so they don't go the whole story hating
and I'm telling everybody that that's what it looked like to me at the time, which is why I wanted to talk about it because I'm like, there could be something else. So I kind of tried to bring it up kind of casually, and you respond with this magic as like a joke.
Well, I didn't realize that it was weighing on you so badly, and I was kind of trying to sweep it under the rug and move on.
But that's
with
the thing is I noticed that you were trying to sweep it under the rug, and then you went offline for the night or whatever. And I was like,
I like sleeping at night.
And I got a little bit annoyed. I was just kind of like, well, now I have to deal with this, until tomorrow. So the next morning, I Skyped you, and I'm like,
and this was like 5-10 minutes after each of us had woken up.
Yeah. Like I was, well, because I'd Skyped you the night before, and you didn't get it till the morning, and you Skyped me, which actually woke me up.
Of course it did.
So I get up, and I'm like, finally, we can deal with this. So I'm like, I'm a little bit offended about this level jump, which was probably a bad choice of words, but hey, I had woken up 10 seconds before. And you just went on the defensive. And okay, here's the thing. I am not a person of what's the word
I haven't a clue. For once, I honestly know. Oh, what's that word?
I know, right?
Pettiness?
Vindictive?
No.
I don't know. Vindictive is what came to mind.
No.
A
aggressive.
I
am not an aggressive person at all. When something happens, I usually just let it go. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. And if it does, I get over it. But that's not a great way to have a relationship. So I was just like, he's always been real great about bringing up his problems to me. I need to suck it up and just bring this up to him. It'll be fine. Super defensive as soon as I talk to him. Like Like, and I was just like, I got so mad. I was like, no.
And from my perspective, what was going on was, so ZAM, Mark, and I have been friends for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
But this other friend, he was my friend from school, and so over the last couple months, there have been 2 or 3 things where I've tried to get him involved with ZAM and Mark, but none of them have gone incredibly well.
Well, I mean, I've only talked to him a couple times, and it's usually on games, obviously. Yeah. I mean, he seems like a cool guy, and I didn't want to assume anything because, I mean, that's completely unfair of me.
Yeah. So what I was feeling was that this friend that I was trying to get involved here, and you know what, was all of a sudden getting kind of, judged and critiqued, and that he wasn't able to defend himself. So I immediately felt that I had to defend him, which I seem to have jumped to that need a little too quickly and a little too passionately, which then just led to the next things. Before we go on, Mark, why don't you read some of those text messages?
Okay. I got a lot of texts from ZAM. But
I text. There's a lot of messages when I text.
But just some highlights are Neefu won't do anything. He's all mad at me for bringing it up. We are actually in a pretty big fight over this. I may leave the party to start my own. I mean, I found HabitRPG, so I don't want to be in a group run by Neefu anyway. Like, serious. Like, this is serious.
Wow.
I did find Habit.
No, we found Habit together watching a video.
I found it, though. We may have seen it on the same video at the same time, but I was the one who went there and signed up for it and had been playing it for a week before you even caught on. So there.
I accept that. I can accept that.
I accept my responsibility.
Oh, and this is another great one where ZAM says, when he gets a mount, I'm not going to feel as proud of mine. Not to mention, I've been working on a dragon mount for a long time, and I want the first time I see a dragon mount to be when I get my dragon mount, unless someone legitimately beats me.
Which, it's fine, because you did use a legitimate in-game way of getting a dragon mount. Though we got it the same day, like a couple hours apart.
But it's just this is very serious business.
Did I have any good ones, or were mine relatively boring?
Yours were boring.
I'm sure they were.
You had a few good ones.
Oh, I did?
Well, it's just yours. You have a very different... Okay, so ZAM's hitting me with all these, I am so upset, and here's the reasons why, A, B, and C. And you hit me with, there's smileys in every text, and it's lots of lols and little 3-dot rows, when you end a sentence with 3 dots.
Oh, I always do, ellipses are my thing.
Here's one. It's I don't judge what you or ZAM consider be worthy of being a habit or a daily or whatever. So I feel like that's not something any of us should be worrying about. It's like I was in the middle somehow. On the one end, this is so upset. On the other hand, I don't know why this is a big deal. And smiley face.
Well, the other thing is when conflict happens, I'm pissed off at you when I stop using ellipses and I start using periods.
And then one of the last texts you said to me was basically the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm feeling very strongly that I should leave this party and just do one with my friend.
You're a freaking robot. You sound like a freaking Vulcan. This week's cover art's gonna have you as a Vulcan.
The weird thing is, you guys, I thought you guys would just split up the party, but we're still together. What?
I knew we wouldn't split up the party.
We'll get there. Okay, so the last thing was that I got on the defensive about my friend, and then so we basically, and the sad thing was, the night before, I had went to my dad and said, Dad, in the morning, let's have pancakes together. You ruined my breakfast with my dad. the entire time I'm just sitting there off in the corner, texting Mark, contemplating what to do next, while my dad's making breakfast. I'm just standing there silently. You ruined my break.
First off, I'd like to know that you're like, Dad, let's have pancakes in the morning. You cook.
Well, no, that was the thing. I would have been involved with it.
I'm giving you a hard time. It was great because it was like, and you know, it was terrible, but it's great now thinking back on it. Because it was just like, I know that I can't stay mad at anybody. I just can't. I'm bad at it. So I'm like, I'm really mad about this, and I know I'll just give in and get over it if I talk to him.
And so he
Skype out.
He ran away. The way that I was interpreting it when I was telling everybody about it for the next 3 hours was that he was doing the equivalent of slamming the door, running up the stairs and slamming the door, basically, and hiding in his bedroom.
Offensively, it was actually probably the best thing to do if we were actually trying to fight, because that drove you nuts.
Oh, no, and that's the thing, is because when I care about the people that I'm dealing with a fight and they just cut me off.
Oh, it drives me nuts too.
Yeah. That's what happened when I was growing up, and I can't stand that as a conflict resolution
I knew
tactic.
that, and so I mean I did that on purpose because I was
next time don't, okay?
Well, I mean, like, I wasn't trying. It wasn't a conflict resolution for me. It was the battle for me. I was like, this is the only way that I can get across that I'm very angry. And then every time you text me, I was like, I should text him and tell him I'm sorry.
Dude, there were so many times where I just wanted to text you just these angry expletive-filled, like, I hate you text messages. But, so one thing that I have grown, that my relationship with my girlfriend has gotten me to learn to appreciate as a legitimate aspect of conflict resolution is making an active attempt as a dueling pair to take a moment or take some time mutually apart. And if you would just propose that, I would have accepted that.
Here's the thing, though. I was trying to make you mad.
That's not healthy.
I know. I was mad. How many times have I actively set out to just piss you off?
Most of the times when we've gotten anger.
I'll pick at you and stuff sometimes, but like when we've actually like been legitimately angry at each other,
I've never shut down.
Yeah, I don't.
And I have to pry.
But I don't really do that. I don't set out to hurt people in a fight usually. I was trying to make you mad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was really angry. And again, it was a perfect storm. Like there was a lot of things that piled up on top of that that got taken out on both sides that made everything worse on both sides. But
what? And so basically the next 3 hours were me sending text messages and Facebook messages and whatnot his way, informing him of how the first set was informing you that I was extremely irritated and that I was going to take some time because I was actually in the process of writing it before you stormed off, but I decided to send it anyway.
I almost messaged you back and going, I'm not reading a page-long response.
But then the next one was... and then the next two sets of messages were both like, I have a resolution to this. It'll take 2 minutes. Just call me or something because I really want to move on with my life because this is taking up all my time and mind energy. And then I made sure to send it on Facebook so I knew when he checked it.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, I knew you were doing that too. I knew that those were freaking censors, but I did it anyway. Actually, one thing that I thought was funny, that the entire thing was done over my phone. Never was on my computer for any of the conversation. The only time I got on my computer was to turn Skype and Steam into offline mode so you couldn't message me.
No, and the thing was, by the time that there was a point where you did turn on your computer and you logged on Steam or on Skype, I saw that and I was like, no, I called him already. If he wants to resolve this, he's going to talk to me.
I was doing something with Jackie. I was sending Jackie something or something, and I did that and I was like, oh, I wonder if he's gonna. He's always online.
I saw that. I was just like, nope.
I was waiting. Anyway.
Nope. And so it took another 2 hours before I just got sick and tired of having to just deal with this in my brain. Before I sent him a message telling him that this was as angry as I've been. What else I was like? So I basically sent him a message informing him that I was incredibly infuriated with him. I don't remember what else I said though, but he finally responded saying that he was busy and would talk later. And well, no, and the thing was, I was okay with that because he had been ignoring me beforehand, and the fact that he acknowledged the fact that I was attempting to resolve this, that was all I needed to let it go temporarily until you called me later.
And it was funny how
it in 10 minutes.
Dude,
we resolved it in half a second.
It was like, so argument over. It was like literally as much time as it took, and we were just not fighting anymore. I mean, we talked it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, as soon as we were on the phone, we weren't fighting anymore, which I knew would happen.
And I think the big issue that I think we both realized was the fact that Zingles was attempting to bring up something and discuss it, as an adult, as we've been attempting to try to become more like. But the problem was he did it at a point that neither of us were expecting to really do it at. And so we didn't have our emotional, like, okay, I'm going to behave like a mature adult here. I just woke up. My emotional walls are down. So bring it, boy.
That's just when it ended up happening. Like, but yeah, it was bad, but it's over.
It's over. We moved on. The game, and then we resolved it, and to the point where we don't really. I mean, we kept the party together. We didn't split it, and
don't you know you never split the party?
And then I got a dragon mount before ZAM.
Same day though, and you had subscribed.
Well, all that let me do was buy gems with gold, but it still cost 20 gold to get a gem.
Do you know how rare the right type? Let's not get into this on the podcast because this is stupid. Anyway, moving on. Pokemon.
Wait a minute. You can buy gems.
You have to subscribe.
Gold?
If you're a subscriber, yeah.
Oh well. No, that would require real money.
Yes, that requires real money.
It's not.
We actually have been doing this one for about 20-some minutes already. So we should probably do well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's kind of interesting. Conflict and fighting are interesting.
We need at least one more topic.
No, yeah, like a smaller topic. We could talk about.
What do you have about Pokemon?
That's gonna be a bigger.
That's gonna be a bigger one. Talk into the mic. I have to hound you on this every single time we record anything. Let's talk about puppets. That'll be a short one.
I freaking love puppets.
Do you have anything else to say about that?
No. I don't know. Okay, so you kind of threw the subject on me.
You were the one who have been trying to talk about this for a month.
I just thought it could be an interesting discussion because I love puppets.
I'm indifferent about puppets.
And I don't really know your guys' views on puppets. Mark,
I'm indifferent about puppets.
Mark, do you hate puppets?
I don't hate them. I have a love-terrified relationship with puppets.
See, I don't know. I have never in my life been afraid of puppets. When I was a kid, I had a Mortimer Snerd ventriloquist dummy, and I slept with it on a shelf next to my bed for years. And I mean, this is when I was like 10 or something when I got it. And
remind me to tell you a story. I have been trying to be better about not interrupting people, so I am going to say, when you're done with your story, remind me to tell you a story about sake.
Okay.
Not the booze.
Oh,
okay.
Mortimer, he went to some interesting places.
You know what's my earliest puppet experience that I can remember? I mean, obviously, I know I'd seen puppets plenty of times before this, but the earliest, brightest, most vivid memory of puppets for me is I was watching a show, and this was a show made like you can only find these at like little churches somewhere because it was like a straight to video, like for kids, teach them a lesson about God movie called The Donut Man. I think
I remember that. Holy crap, I remember that.
Yeah, it's just a guy who has He's got a donut shop, but there's also puppets in it. And I guess you learn lessons? I don't know, because I was watching it, and like in the middle of an episode, the donut man's alone in his shop. He's like closed up, or he hasn't opened yet, I don't know. And he's just washing the tables, and I think he's singing a song, maybe? Or maybe he's just talking. And there's this little window in the back wall of the shop, and it was up really high, like near the top of the roof. And a puppet comes up and looks in the window and is looking at him. Now, I'm pretty sure he's just like, he wants a donut, you know, and he's looking in to see if anyone's in there. But in my little kid brain, that puppet was sinister. He was plotting something. He was staring at the donut man, and he had evil plans. He was going to do something terrible to the donut man, because the donut man, he doesn't see the puppet looking at him. And I think I can even talk more about that, but immediately I started screaming and crying.
Oh, wow.
And my brothers were like, I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6. And my brother's like, what the heck is wrong? It's like, that puppet.
It's gonna
And I realize now what the problem was. It was that the puppet was moving, and the donut man wasn't looking at him. And one of my biggest fears as a kid was that puppets would come to life when I'm not looking at them.
Huh.
And it would not
That
be
is
a
an
happy
intriguing
come
fear.
to life. It would be like a kill you come to life.
So like Chucky.
So there it is. There's a puppet, silent, staring at him, just like I know the puppets are staring at me when I turn.
I always thought that like my toys when I was a kid. No. Oh, okay. So I've talked about really weird mental things that I had as a kid. But
She puts the lotion in the basket. Continue.
and I think he actually used it because he was trying to dehumanize
You're right.
her.
Continue.
Moving on.
Way to nitpick at my... Anyway, continue.
Whenever there were like pictures that had people's eyes in them, like I had this weird thing in the back of my mind where the people who the pictures were of could see me through their pictures. And that was just like one of those weird things that was in my back of my mind that I didn't just like actively address because it just was like the thing that I lived with in my mind and accepted until I was old enough to like, and by old enough to actually think about it and just, you know, it's one of those things where you live with it your entire life. You don't think two thoughts about it until one day you're just like, wait a second, what? It was one of those, and it was like teenage years when I was just like, wait, why is this still in my mind?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think the one, like, my irrational fear as a kid was like, it was never puppets, it was never anything like that. But there'd be times where there'd be like a shelf or something, just like a little area, and it was something, you know, I'd have to open up or get into it or something like that. And I always felt like there was just there was going to be something in there. Mm-hmm. It's just like that's silly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But
Well,
I've
you know,
never go ahead.
I've thought a lot about my puppet fears, and just so people know, puppets can potentially still creep me out a little bit, but I'm fine with puppets. I love the Muppets. I love them.
Muppets are awesome.
And those are the puppetiest puppets you're gonna find. But I think my main problem with puppets was like I had a lot of stuffed animals as a kid that I played with when I was real little. And if I had found out that they came to life when I wasn't looking, I would have been ecstatic. I would have been happy. Because those are my buds, you know. Those are my friends. And stuffed animals, they don't move unless you move them, you know. And I was the only one ever moving them. But I never had a relationship with a puppet. I never had a puppet to, like, play with, except maybe, like, a stupid sock puppet, you know. And yet I'd see puppet shows, whether live or on TV, and that's like a stuffed animal coming to life. But it's not fuzzy, it's not squishy, it's not my friend. It's alien, and it's alive.
I never was really into puppet anything growing up, but more recently I've stumbled across this amazing, fantastic, amazing, wonderful YouTube channel called Glove and Boots.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I love Glove and
pretty
Boots.
fun.
They just have some of the most creative, wonderful humor when it comes to puppets and short form YouTube videos.
That is worst kind of troll.
That's why I grabbed the
yeah,
boots,
that was one
so
that
that I could remember to talk about glove and boots.
I was wondering what you're doing. I'm like, is there a fly in here or something?
Oh, yeah, glove and boots is great.
Yeah.
Did you know about them before I told you about them, or
No, you started posting them on.
Don't worry, you were the first one. You knew about it before it was cool.
On your
Don't worry.
Facebook, and that's where I saw them, and I'm like, oh, these guys are funny. And now I've seen like all their videos. They're great. But there's other stuff about puppets too. I just want to say real quick, and part of it is just like a puppet that's moving, that's being used, is not really that scary to me. Especially if I can see the person using it. It's when they like hang them up afterwards or put them aside, and I look at it, and in my little kid's mind, I'm like, this thing was moving around, but now it's not. But moving around is like part of its existence.
Right.
So it's got to feel like some kind of resentment. It's not moving around now.
I think definitely.
It was alive, but now it's dead, and I'm going to turn around, and it's going to stare at me. It's going to turn its head and look at me.
I think part of that with the with like ventriloquist dummies though is that when you're doing a good job with a ventriloquist dummy, it really truly looks alive. Like, I mean, you feel like it can see and stuff, and you set it down and suddenly it's completely lifeless, and it has those kind of like lifeless eyes staring off into the distance. But I don't know, like being able to take something that looked like that and make it look alive was what I always loved about puppets. And like, I mean, my ventriloquist dummy, I always wanted to upgrade it. I wanted it to have moving eyes and eyebrows, and I wanted to have realistic hair, and so it looked more realistic and stuff. But of course, that stuff's really expensive. So I never got it.
You had the two things I didn't. One, you had a sort of relationship, as much as anyone can have with an inanimate object, with a puppet. You had Mortimer. Mm-hmm. You used him, and also you were behind the magic. You knew what was up with Mortimer. You wanted to trick him out, to make it even cooler. Right. And I was in front of the magic.
I'll do whatever I want as long as my hand is up his butt. Continue.
The Muppets in the Muppet movies never really scared me much, and there's one simple reason why. They're never not being used. In the Muppet movies, Muppets are like just another species of strange felt being that people just accept are real, and they're nice, And all these people are like, oh yeah, that's a Muppet. There's Kermit. It's totally cool that this frog is just bouncing around, and he's not going to go and die in the closet and hang there with lifeless eyes, because he's got his own life, He runs a show.
Speaking of closets filled with dead puppets... Oh, I can finally take my hand off my head now, because that was my reminder for this
He's
story.
been doing things to remind him of things, and he looks like he's playing his own version
Twister
of
with
Twister
myself.
with himself.
So my girlfriend is currently doing the Disney college program down in Florida, and so there's like these tunnels underneath the parks that they travel to and from with to try to get places easier. And one day she was walking through there, and there was this open door, and she looks in, and it's this closet filled with all the costume heads from all the like various like Goofy and Mickey and Buzz.
That's
and
awesome.
It was just heads, multiple versions of each head, and
that's awesome.
Disturbing thought.
Suit up, grab a head.
The second thing, Saki, so I could finally lift or stop crossing my fingers. Saki was okay. So Snuggles, the brand of fabric softener.
No,
is it Snuggles? There's the brand of fabric softener with the little bear, with the little plush bear. I had one of those little plush bears growing up as a kid. He was given to me before I ever remember anything, and I had named him Saki, or his name was Saki, and that was before I knew that there was a booze.
I was gonna say, you named your pet stuffed toy thingy after booze.
I slept with that guy. I slept with him in my arm.
Guy. You said it.
You said. I have a clip of you saying I slept with my the ventriloquist dummy dude. I'm gonna cut it right here.
I slept with Mortimer Snerd.
See, I told you said it. You can't hear it, but the audience now just heard the clip of you saying it 10 minutes ago.
I know, it was a joke.
But you
was
still said it. Haha.
Yeah, but yours was on accident, so it was stupid.
What? Mine wasn't on accident. I legitimately, like, every night I would, he was my Linus. What? Linus in his security blanket. It was my security stuff bear.
Oh, your security bear. Well, you gotta have a security bear. I had a security dog that was stuffed.
I had a security freaking Elmo.
Did he?
No. No, gosh, no. I never had anything electronic growing up because even as a kid, I knew it would break.
How much I loved stuffed animals as a kid and was terrified of puppets because they're essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
But I loved stuffed animals. I can never be afraid of a stuffed animal. But puppets. Oof.
Yeah, no. I had an Elmo, and when I was really little, I fell and on my birthday and busted open the side of my head. And I had this giant gash on the side of my head. I still have a scar. And
I've left a couple marks on that face.
Yeah, like the time you stabbed me in the face with a piece of PVC pipe.
Well, excuse me, princess, if your sword broke.
I said, be gentle with these. These are not meant.
Don't give me something pointy and say be gentle.
In fact, the only real rule was don't stab. It can rip through the end of the PVC. Anyway.
It was a boffing sword, and it was made of PVC with some foam stuff on the outside of it, and I stabbed him in the face with it and cut open his eye or something.
Yeah. I had a moon-shaped scar underneath my eye for a long time.
Blinded. Like a half-inch down.
That was the second time in like a year that I was almost blinded.
Then the rock?
Yeah, the rock that hit me right on the bridge of my nose, and then the
Me.
And my whole face was like all swollen, and I had this giant black eye.
There are so many stories from that era of people wondering about their well-being because of my presence at an event.
Yeah.
You have to admit, if anyone could pull off the eye patch look, it'd be ZAM.
Heck yeah.
We've come to the end of Cooldown Timer episode 26. I am Neefu. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at StraightUpNeefu. You can find me on the rest of the internet at www.neefu.com. I have been experimenting with writing words about TV shows. Some of them have been good words. Some of them have been bad words. Not bad words as curse words, but just poorly structured sentences, just like this one. You can find Zingles Artman here on Facebook and Twitter as well, at Zingles Artman. You can find Mark at The Page. I don't know why I do that really dramatic, The Page. No,
because you're you. Continue.
Yeah, all right. Definitely go check out our YouTube channel. We recently posted, this was a couple weeks back, but we recently posted the best of videos of our Amnesia playthrough. You need to check these out. There's one that's basically about 3 minutes of me screaming.
It's hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
It's better than it sounds.
And yeah, so you can find the podcast on the Cooldown Timer website. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, and occasionally on YouTube, and then occasionally on SoundCloud, because nobody's been listening to it there, and so I'm not going to pay the subscription fee to get it on there if nobody's going to listen to it. So don't all of a sudden rush there to start listening to it, because I don't want to have to pay. Moving on. You can send us your comments, questions, concerns, problems, pictures
money
of you wearing very embarrassing clothing. You can do to the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/CoolddownTimerPodcast, or the YouTube channel, comment on the videos, or just send us an email at contactus@cooldowntimer.com. There are a plethora of ways of getting in touch with us. Use one of them.
Indeed. And send us topic ideas, and we'll talk about them.
We tried this before, and nobody cared. But no, I guess we have a little more of a following now. Send us topic ideas to discuss. Yeah. Cool down
Toodles,
timer,
my noodle.
yeah.
Cool down timer, yeah.